He's the Hall of Famer. He's Shannon Sharpe, and he joins us here on the Michael Kay Show. It's Don LaGreca and Ryan Rucco. Thank you so much for giving us a couple of minutes, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, what does this do when you hear that the cell phone, the evidence was destroyed? I mean, what does that do as far as enhancing the negative play about the whole cheating and Deflategate?
Listen, this doesn't change Tom Brady. He's won 4 Super Bowls. He has 3 Super Bowl MVPs. He has 2 league MVPs. He's on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks. But this is on his resume. Now, how high you put up on his resume, that's up to people that's reading his resume. But it's on his resume. This didn't change anything for me. I told you from day one. He knew about it, and he ordered the code red. The problem that people had, it wasn't the message. They wasn't upset at the message that I delivered. It was the messenger. Because all I did was say the same thing that Joe Montana has since said, Troy Aikman has since said, Steve Young has since said. But nobody's Shannon Sharpe, he has a phone. He just hates the Patriots. Shannon Sharpe got done with the salary. The Broncos cheated the salary cap. Okay, there's no question. The Broncos front office acknowledged that they skirted the salary cap. They circumvented the salary cap. But this is not on Shannon Sharpe's resume. This is on the Broncos' resume. So you can dress it up however you want to. The NFL has a bone to pick with Tom Brady. Look, if I'm going to court and I've said and I've told you I've got evidence that can exonerate me, but then I get before the judge and say, well, Judge, I destroyed my cell phone or I destroyed the evidence, but I'm still innocent. How does that play out in front of a jury? How does that play out in the courtroom? Come on, guys, let's be real.
Well,
you and I both know nothing happens to the footballs. And everybody kept saying, well, did you hear what who was the quarterback, Brad Johnson? Did you hear what he told he paid the ball boys to miss? That just further solidified what the ball boys would do for the quarterback.
Right.
All that stuff that they're telling you, all that does is further solidify that Tom Brady knew what was going on.
Shannon, can you see a scenario where his actual reasoning for destroying the phone was because he's a famous person who doesn't want his records out there, and that actually is a legitimate reason?
Look, here's the thing. I only know one type of person. As a matter of fact, Ryan, someone tweeted me, it's like, hey, I know a lot of people that don't have as much money as Tom Brady, and they change their phone more often than that. I know a lot of people like that, too. They're called criminals. Those are the people that change their cell phone every 2 to 3 months. Come on, Ryan. Let's be real.
Yeah.
You and I both know. Mm-hmm. You might change your number. You're not changing no phone. Okay, when the new phone comes out, because seemingly now the iPhone comes out every 6 days. So you might want to change, and I'm being facetious. But I just tweeted a picture. I got 10 cell phones. I got the StarTech. I got the 2 brick phones, not the one that you had, the bag, but the 2 brick phones you used to hold up to your ear. You remember those in the early 90s?
Oh yeah.
I still have those.
Right.
When I go to, if I want to get an upgrade, if I do not have to turn the phone in, I want to keep it.
Yes.
I got the very first iPhone.
I do the same thing.
That's just me. But let's be real. Come on now. Come on. But, okay, let's just say for the sake of argument that's true that he did. But you're going to meet the commissioner, and you tell the commissioner you destroyed the phone on June 18th when you meet the commissioner on June 23rd. Come on, Ryan. See, we've watched too much CSI, and so now we want fingerprints. Now we want DNA. But if I ever am lucky enough to sit on a jury, I'm just using common sense. Okay, he wouldn't cooperate with Mr. Wells. Now you say I got evidence. Okay, I'm going to bring it. I'm going to show you this evidence I got, Commissioner, and you're going to rescind it. Okay? If I'm the commissioner, I'm sitting there with Tom Brady. Whoo! This is going to be a load off me. Tom is going to bring this evidence, and I'm going to be able to rescind this fine. And, hey, his resume will be intact. I destroyed the phone, Commissioner. Huh?
Yeah. And so the cover-up becomes worse than the crime.
And that's the thing. Look, he thought this was a joke. When he got up there, before the Saturday, and he got up there and I don't know anything about it. Come on, let's be real. You and I both know even the second-string quarterback know what the PSI is in the football. For him to say he don't know anything about that, when him and Peyton Manning were the main reason that the footballs are not being able to be held by the players before.
Mm-hmm. Now,
they get a whole week to scrub the balls, to practice with the balls, and do whatever they want to get them to their liking. He and Peyton Manning, but he doesn't know anything? Come on, people. So with that being said, now all of a sudden, you gonna start texting. You're gonna text an equipment manager at 7:30 in the morning when you're gonna see him at 9. What's so important that you need to text the equipment manager at 7:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning when you're gonna see him at 9 o'clock at the stadium?
Right. And you
claim never texted before.
Right. And you claim you claimed you didn't even know who he was.
And that's the thing. We've all seen stuff where, well, I don't even know who that guy is. Okay, well, why is his number in your phone if you don't know it? Well, I think I called him one time. The guy even said, I had been working with the Patriots for 25 years. Tom Brady had never, he's been here 15. He had never asked me to come in that room until the Monday after the game when the footballs were in question. But nobody sees that because he's just being friendly. He hadn't been friendly before.
Right. Yeah. Now, the other thing that people will defend Tom and say, well, he couldn't just throw up his hands and say, I'm guilty, because he might have been suspended for the Super Bowl. I mean, do you buy that?
Yes. But all he had to say, look, guys, I asked the guys, I said, look, you guys know how I launch the football. I want them on the lower end. If they went below that, that's my fault. That is my fault. I apologize, guys. I didn't tell them, but I said I want them at the lower end. But when you say, they ask you, say, well, Tom, are you a cheater? I don't believe so. Ryan, let me ask you, Ryan, are you married?
I am not married.
Okay, let's just say for the sake of argument.
Don's
Ryan,
married.
You're married.
Yeah.
And you go home, and your wife says, Ryan, have you been cheating on me? And you say, I don't believe so. But Ryan, I don't know. Let me tell you what's going to happen. I don't really know if those $1,500 to $2,000 lawyer hours that charge that by the hour in New York. But I bet you'll be getting a hearing from one of them.
Pretty significant bill would come, I would think, yes.
But the question is, if he had done that.
All he had to do, Ryan, was just say, look, guys, if the guys went overboard, that's my fault. I told him I wasn't on the Lord. Now, I didn't tell him to go overboard with it. Hey, you take the $25,000 or the $50,000 fine, whatever it is, and we move on. But he knew he was wrong, and he knew if he told the truth, he was going to be suspended for the Super Bowl because the NFL would have had no choice, just like they got no choice now. And stop trying to compare Greg Hardy's suspension and Adrian Peterson's suspension and Ray Rice's suspension. This is an integrity issue. That is the commissioner's number one job. Okay, let's take this back. It used to be the commissioner's number one job. Now it's to make the money. We saw the checks that they got at the beginning of it. Anyway, right. That's another joke. His number one job is to protect the integrity of the National Football League. And now, if the people watching the games, because we saw some things that happened. We saw the catch that Dez Bryant that everybody thought he had, but he didn't have. We saw the situation in the Detroit Lions where they threw the flag, and all of a sudden they picked the flag up. And then we saw the play at the Super Bowl. So now you get all these people thinking, hold on. Something ain't right here. If you ever start the people to start to question what they're watching, it's already predetermined, you're going to have a problem. And that's the difference between sports and entertainment. In entertainment, when you watch a movie or when you watch WWE, you have a general idea of how it's going to end. But when you play professional sports, you're not supposed to have any idea because on any given day, anything can happen. But when the fans start to think the thing is predetermined right. in professional sports, that's when you're going to have a problem. So the Ray Rice and the Adrian Peterson and the Hardy, they're terrible. Domestic violence is an awful act. But it doesn't go to the direct integrity or it doesn't affect the competitive balance of a game. That's why they say we want the football to be between this and this. Because if you don't have that, if you have one team, see, and it doesn't matter. Look what he did. If it didn't matter, he wouldn't have done it.
Talking to Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe. Now, in the beginning of the interview, Shannon, you had said it's up to you to decide where you put Deflategate on the resume for Tom Brady. Where do you put it? You said he's a great quarterback, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but where do you put this scandal on his obituary after he passes away with all the things he's accomplished?
Tom Brady's on my Mount Rushmore of quarterback. He can't be taken off. He can't be taken off that. But Tom Brady, ask an equipment man to underinflate the football is on his resume. So when you read 4-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time league MVP, 5,000-yard passer, 10-time, 15-time Pro Bowl player, 5, 6, 7, 8 times All-Pro. Oh, in the end, also suspended 4 games for integrity issues against the National Football League.
If I were to argue that I believe Peyton Manning is better because he was scandalous.
You can't argue that. You can't argue that. No. You can't argue that because he's beaten Peyton Manning. Look, and I know what people are going to say. People are going to say, well, he got caught this time. This was the only time because, true story, I had a friend of mine that went before a judge, and he told the judge gave him 20-plus years. He said, Judge, this is my first crime. The judge said, this is my first time sentencing you also.
Right.
So I'm gonna give Tom Brady the benefit of the doubt. Even though I do not believe, because in the second biggest game of the year, you're not going to be tinkering with things, Ryan. Ryan, you do the same thing before you get ready to go on the show. You do pretty much the same ritual every single time. You don't deviate. Now, if you're getting ready to go and host the Oscars or the Grammys, you're not going to deviate from what you normally do from your normal routine.
Right.
But that's another. I'm going to give Tom Brady the benefit of the doubt and say this was a one-time isolated incident. He did it. I used to argue that too, but I can no longer argue that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of his generation. I love Peyton.
Right.
I consider Peyton a friend of mine because I text him, and when I go to Denver, we talk. But Tom Brady's it. And if I'm a pretty good debater. The only really the quarterback that I can't debate and say he's better than is Joe, because Joe is unblemished and untied in Super Bowls. But other than that, you can't make another case for a quarterback to say he's better than Tom.